Australia has recently decriminalized the use of psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and MDMA and is now prescribing it for medical reasons. That's fucking huge and a massive positive step in the right direction. As somebody who has partaken extensively in both of these substances, I can tell you that with the correct usage, these are a massive ally to humanity. So they have, both of them have huge scope in what they can be used for. I'd say the mushrooms have possibly a greater potential of what you can do with them in terms of actually changing your psyche in a healthy way. But MDMA, even still, what I noticed during my extensive, intense party phase of my late teenage, early 20s, that there's another side to MDMA. It doesn't have to be just take it, party, dance, fuck, and have an amazing time, which honestly, in moderation, I actually think is a very, very healthy thing for people to do if they so choose to do it. It's actually usually what I found, whatever's cut with the MDMA is actually more dangerous than the actual MDMA itself. But anyway, there's also another side to it. If you sit down and meditate on MDMA, you will have the most wonderful experience. It's incredible. I remember once, me and two friends, we're pretty fucked up on ecstasy. We went and sat down on a field, and I wanted to tell my friends, I'm like, guys, you gotta try this. I've tried this, you gotta try this. We sit down in a little triangle, we start meditating. My friend, Darby's his name, legend. Afterwards, he's almost in tears. Like, after we sit down at 15, 20 minutes, he opens his eyes, and he's almost in tears, and he just looks at me like, wow, Trav, that was incredible. Thank you so much for showing me this experience. And I could give various other examples of very similar situations. So the fact that Australia has decriminalized it, I think is a massive step forward. And the same thing with magic mushrooms. You can take them, go to a party, have a good time, and I think that's actually all well and good if you choose to do that. But it's only scratching the surface of what you can do with magic mushrooms. And there have been so many studies about microdosing, curing PTSD, and how it can treat so many mental issues, anxiety, all this sort of stuff. And do you really think that our loving, trusting government made it illegal for your own good, to protect you, the citizens, the same government who's been responsible for all of the bullshit over the past 3 years and wanted to lock you down for the rest of your entire fucking life and give you unlimited injections for your own safety? Right, okay. So they don't want you doing drugs for your own safety. Okay. And just to touch on it, because the word drug has a lot of stigma, right? And to some degree, I kind of get it, because there are some serious drugs out there that will fuck you up. But the thing is, you've got MDMA and magic mushrooms, then they get lumbered together with like crack cocaine and heroin. All of these substances are drugs, but they're fucking hugely different. Basically, a drug is just a chemical that alters the chemicals in your mind, alters the way your brain works. That's all it is. Eating foods is a drug. Chocolate is a drug. Alcohol is a drug. One of the most boring, still kind of fun sometimes in moderation, but from my experience of trying various substances, one of the most boring, but the most normalized and accepted. This is fine, guys. For some reason, the government is perfectly okay with everybody drinking as much as they possibly fucking can, and it should be the drug of choice to celebrate everything. However, it's so deeply concerned for your well-being that it doesn't want you touching magic mushrooms. Okay? Just stay away from the magic mushrooms. Drink all you like, smoke all you like, but don't touch the magic mushrooms, okay? Because that'll be really, really dangerous for everybody. No. Bullshit. They are scared of what drugs can do in the right hands. And when I say drugs, I mean MDMA, psilocybin, stuff like that. They can actually be very beneficial. But saying that, just to add to this, have any of you heard of Philip K. Dick? A lot of you might not have, but a lot of you more likely have seen a film that has been inspired by this man's writings. Things like The Adjustment Bureau, or Blade Runner, A Scanner Darkly. There's loads of films that have been made off of this man's writings. He was incredible. He was an amazing man. Very intelligent. He's got a book called The Exegesis, which is huge. It's like 900 pages condensed down from like thousands of pages. And he wrote so much by hand, and he wrote countless novels. He contributed to humanity in such a huge, great way. Many people have been inspired by his writings, uplifted by his contribution to humanity. This guy, for better or for worse, because he did die quite young of a heart condition, 50 something, 56, I believe. He was a prolific speed user. He would just take some fucking speed and write all through the night. Insane. Like, so he was a good example of what a drug can be used for in the right hands. Okay, he might have overdone it, and I'm sure there's some pretty dark stuff that happened in all of his drug addiction, because you know, that's just how it can go. But just to say that drugs aren't all bad. Addiction itself is really the problem. The actual drug itself isn't the problem, and the negative side effects often can be attributed to what the drug's actually cut with. The actual drug itself isn't actually usually that bad. In terms of, I'm talking of MDMA and psilocybin here. Obviously, psilocybin is never cut of anything, it's just mushrooms. But MDMA, from my experience, the cleaner it is, the stronger it is, it's fine. Just don't fucking overdo it, don't get addicted. But then anybody who has an addictive personality will end up, you know, getting addicted to something. I don't believe the government's made it illegal because it cares about your safety. I believe it's concerned about what could actually happen when these substances are in the right hands. And anybody who's taken MDMA will know how an amazing experience it is, really. Like, all your inhibitions are down, you're just loving. If it is really good MDMA, anyway, if it's actually strong, pure, actually what it is. Because I see some people that take MDMA and they're not really in this powerful, overwhelming love state. I'm like, I don't know if you've really tried it, you know. I often joke, actually, anybody who prefers cocaine to MDMA hasn't had good enough MDMA. That's my take. I believe there's huge potential for these substances to benefit humanity. I'm very glad that Australia has decided to make it legal for prescription for medical reasons. It'll be a step in the right direction just to make it decriminalized in general. And I think that will be of great benefit to humanity. The whole stigma around taking a substance to alter the chemical structure and the way your brain functions could do with a little bit of light shined onto it, because there's a huge variation in these substances. So you can take a bit of MDMA every now and then, or experiment with magic mushrooms in a controlled environment in a healthy way, and it doesn't destroy your life. Whereas you get into a heroin addiction, yeah, your life's pretty much fucking over, right? So very, very, very different substances and the way they affect your life.